1:00 games on Sunday. Atlanta Falcons at the Tampa Bay Bucs. Did it again. Wow, what a catch. Need a GIF. GIF that up. Went like this. Boop, caught it. Falcons at the Bucs. Tampa Bay favored by 2.5. Bucs are 3-2. Falcons 3-3. Battle for the top of the NFC South here.
Yeah. Desmond Ridder has gone from game manager, let's not take too many attempts, let's not get too many yardage, to 300 yards each of the last 2 games, one of which was good, one of which was bad because he was heaving the ball to the defense a ton.
Does he have more dropbacks in the last 2 games than he had the previous 4 weeks? It's got to be close, right?
No.
It wasn't that bad in week 5. But you're right. I mean, it is game flow is weird in Atlanta. Week 1, he dropped back only 22 times, and it felt like that's the world they want to play in.
Yeah.
And they're not playing in that world.
Right. And I don't know if it's almost like sort of the Houston game gave them confidence. It's like, he can be this guy. And then they went crazy again against Washington. Now
Washington shut down the run game pretty well.
Exactly. So there's some, elements to that, but that's not the game they want to be playing. This game does not want to flow through Desmond Ridder. And if it does, they probably have issues.
We have said, and we said coming into the season, an average to above average quarterback. If you put Ryan Tannehill from a couple of years ago on this team, maybe they look really dangerous. And I think the turnover-worthy plays tell that story, right? Ridder had 4 in week 2. He had 2 in week 3. He had 3 in week 4, 2 of which were actual interceptions. He had 4 last week against Washington, and that was the hands on your head, Arthur Smith moment. I mean, if Ridder just takes care of the ball and also, right, finds that balance of giving Drake London and Kyle Pitts and some of those playmakers the ability to make plays, Atlanta's dangerous. But the turnovers or just the, potential turnovers have been a massive issue.
Yeah, they have, absolutely. But I think one of the biggest things is that run game that is supposed to be the foundation of this offense for Atlanta has been actually shut down by several teams this season.
And the Bucs are equipped to stop it again.
Sure. But that, if that can't happen, this team actually needs that run game. It's supposed to be the most run-heavy team in the NFL. It's built to be the team that's zigging while everybody else is zagging. Desmond Ridder is supposed to be there to just steer the ship and not screw it up. And, if they can tap into his part of the design run game, all the better. But if it gets stopped and they have to pass to win, they're just not set up to do it.
Yeah, man, I agree. I completely agree with that, and I think you're going to run into another game. Vita Vea played out of his mind last week. Kalijah Cansey came back, and Cansey, he's 280 or whatever he is, and there'll be some plays where you can knock him off the ball, but he's disruptive as well.
Yeah.
Remember we said he's, for all the undersized defensive tackles, we will not say the name Aaron Donald for any of these guys. We said that for Ed Oliver as well, and we're right on that, but Cansey has some Ed Oliver, I think, to his game where there'll be some plays where you're like, man, he's just too undersized. He's getting destroyed. And there's other plays where you see the quickness and the leverage, and he's playing in the backfield. Cansey's first extended time playing last week was impressive. So I think the Bucs, they're and it's a Todd Bowles defense, right? They start their life with stop the run. And I think they'll do it well again this week, and it becomes another one-dimensional game for Ridder and the Falcons.
Yeah, Cansey was interesting last week because he was just very routinely handled in the run game. He's disruptive, he's quick, he's fast, he can cause real problems from a pass rushing standpoint. But in the run game, it wasn't even you hear a lot, Aaron Donald, Ed Oliver, whoever your undersized defensive tackle is, he doesn't hold up against double teams, right? Cansey wasn't, double teams were irrelevant. He was just getting blocked one-on-one easily. The guy would just grab hold of him and move him to where he wanted him to go, and Cansey was done. Even if that's a weakness of his game, that's a problematic level of not being a factor in the run game. Do anything other than that, right? And I include shoot the gap and just get in the backfield and cause problems. You can't just stand there, allow a guy to grab hold of you and turn you into the gap that he wants you to be in, and you're not in the play anymore. You've got to either shed that block, you've got to shoot the gap to make that more difficult and at least disrupt the blocking scheme generally. Last week can't be the default position, and now you're going up against a team that does want to run the ball, that does want to, that's where they want to live. So if Cansey is going to be that generally, I mean, he shouldn't play much this game. Like, they should limit him to being a situational player in this game if that's the level we're going to see.
What you described was definitely early career Ed Oliver.
Right.
It was, and the Bills were getting run over. So it's something to keep an eye on. The other thing, too, is we've talked a ton this year. When we talk about the Falcons this year, we talk a lot about Ridder, of course. We've talked a lot about Bijan because he's #fun to watch. The defense, right? If the Falcons would have better, more consistent quarterback play, we'd be talking about a lot of the offseason additions that the Falcons made and how that has them, 4-2 or whatever it might be. David Onyemata coming in, playing probably the best football of his career. Calais Campbell, almost our age, still playing extremely well. Jesse Bates has made a ton of plays this year. Jeffrey Okudah in the middle of the best year of his career after they picked him up for nothing, former first-round pick from the Lions. So there's a lot of good stuff on the defensive side for the Falcons.
I checked it out, by the way, after we talked about this with Trev on Tuesday's show. I do need Jason Peters to become active, otherwise there are no NFL players that are older than us.
Not even a kicker?
Not even a kicker.
There's not even a kicker older than us?
Not a kicker.
Seattle might need to activate him this week.
He's on a practice squad, so depending on how you feel about that, technically he's still active in the league somewhere. But if he's not activated, we are older than every single player.
He might need to get activated this week.
Yeah,
it might happen. So anyway, I think the Falcons defense is playing pretty well, and then on the Bucs side, like I said last week in the review show, Baker Mayfield 2 for 10 on 20-plus yard throws. There were opportunities the other day. I think Mayfield's played well this year, but when they've played good teams, right? When they played Philadelphia, when they played Detroit, you just didn't feel like they're in that conversation. This is a team, the Falcons are a comparable team. And so look, the NFC South is not great. I mean, it is so bad. I think the Bucs can win it again. The Falcons can win it. The Saints can win it. So I think the Bucs can win this game and be another team it's going to be difficult to compete against the best in the NFC, as we've seen. But Bucs have a chance to go 4-2 here and really take control in the division.
Cansey's only rushed the passer 37 times, and he already is 5 pressures off the team lead.
Yeah, let him go, man. That'd be great. So I think there's a lot of fun matchups in this game. Even last year, Atlanta I thought was more overmatched last year against the Bucs, and they beat them in the last game when I think Brady only played the first half or whatever. But the Falcons were competitive with the Bucs last year. I think it should be a good one. Bucs are favored by 2.5. Where are you going with this one? Don't forget it's Ridder on the road too.
Ooh, yeah. I think I was going to lean Tampa Bay anyway, but that just seals it for me. I'm concerned by the fact that this run game for Atlanta has crapped out in a couple of spots. Like, they need that to be functional for them to succeed. But, I think there is a chance they can exploit Cansey if he's in the lineup.
Yeah, I think I'm leaning Tampa Bay as well to cover the 2.5. I think the matchup leads to another Ridder-centric game, and just not ready to trust him. One good game out of 5
for
Ridder so far, or out of 6.